Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you had a blast enjoying all the free sessions that happened yesterday. And today we have 3 more incredible sessions for you, kicked off by my good friend and arguably the best looking 25% of the Honest Designers podcast, Mr. Ian Barnard. How are you, Ian?
I'm very well, Tom. Thank you for your nice comments.
It's good to see you. I'm very excited for this session. I mean, we always learn a bunch watching you work, and today we're going expressive. Is that right?
Yes, we are. We're gonna look at how to, I suppose, give your lettering more meaning, because letters can express different forms of emotion in the style that they are, and I'm going to be going through that. I'm going to start simple and then maybe get a little bit more complicated. Not too complicated, but yeah, that's what we're going to do. So hopefully we learn some tips. It's more of less of a putting a piece together and more of a tip-based thing today. So hopefully if you find that you're just doing the same old style all the time, hopefully this will help you to give it a bit more sparkle, pizzazz, words of that nature.
I like it. Well, we all need a bit more pizzazz in our lives. Over to you, Ian. Would you like to share your screen and we can jump in?
Okay, so I just want to start off with like it's different, the main different styles. So there are a few more, but basically in what I do, it sort of boils down to 4 different rough styles. There's like sans serif, serif, script, and black letter, and sort of miscellaneous, if you want to include it in that. So and each of these in turn, or every style of lettering puts over an emotion or a feeling. And so you have sans serif, and one at the top is very much sort of like the maybe friendly, easy. It's sort of quite strong sometimes, especially a bit bolder. Then you have serif, which is maybe a bit more serious or formal. Then you have script, which can put over the sort of strong emotions and maybe a bit more gentle. And then you have like black letter, which is sort of like can be that can look sort of old and maybe a bit more you anger with it as well, like in a rock band or something like that. So choosing styles is dependent on how it makes you feel and how it makes a person feel. And with lettering, you're putting over a message and you want people to feel that sort of what you're trying to get, really. So I'm going to be looking at how we can just take one of these styles like sans serif and just go from something that looks quite plain to something that sort of encapsulates what the word is that you're trying to illustrate. If that makes sense. Any questions so far from that, Tom, that you think other people would have?
I have a question. How is everything you do so beautiful looking? Because even those 4 quick examples look so elegant.
I don't know. I should I should bottle it up. So here we have things I'm going to try. I've got loads to do to tell you today, but obviously we've only got an hour. So I'm just going to keep rolling until Tom tells me to stop. So
let's cram it in.
Here we have this word fun. I've just drawn it with the basic building blocks using letter builder underneath, just to give me this. So with like letter builder, we're going to be using the Freestyler pack today, but with letter builder, it gives you the foundation of specifically the sans serif block lettering style. And then it's up to you to then give it more emotion. So we're going to start off with the word fun, and I'm going to take you through sort of 3 different stages to transform this from being looking quite, I suppose, boring and not really. It could be any word but we want to make it fun. So the thing is, with fun, it can be quite spontaneous and doesn't normally follow the same sort of route. So one thing we can do is look at the baseline and the sort of angle and alignment of the letters. So let me just turn off the grid. So what we can do is using the selection tool at the top there, that S thing, we can select the letters, and then we're going to just move them up and maybe rotate them a little bit, and do that with the N as well. And instantly you see that even just that small tweak of moving them from the baseline where the UU was has given it like this joyful, like a celebration of, fun. So that's the first step, altering, not all words need to be taken off the baseline, but it's just thinking, okay, maybe coming up with a list of what things come to mind when I'm trying to illustrate this word. So, for instance, the first thing was like maybe, that spontaneity or joyful or celebration. So the next thing we can do, that was altering the angle. The next thing is the external sort of influences. So first of all, we're going to change the color. So I'm just going to grab an orange from the color palette that comes with the Freestyler pack. And then if I click on here and turn on alpha lock, I can then click on that layer again once I've selected the color, and then just go fill layer, and fill that layer with the color I want. And also with external things. So external things can be maybe the shape of the letters can transform, or for instance, like we can just make it 3D. So what I'm going to do is swipe to the left and duplicate that. And I'm going to give it a slightly darker orange. Click on the layer again because it's still on alpha lock, and click fill layer. Nothing will happen because it's underneath. So I'm going to click on the transform tool, which is the arrow, and I'm going to move it down and to the left. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is turn off alpha lock. I'm going to grab this one called broken arrow, which I use to sort of fill in these corners. And then I'm just going to fill in those little triangle elements that join up the edges of the letters. Just looking at the corners there, and this just gives it that quick 3D look. So we're just trying to get this sort of bounce off the page along with this sort of
I'm liking how dynamic this is looking already, mate.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it add a new layer, plus sign, click on that layer, click on clipping path, clipping mask, click on a darker shade. So anything I draw on this layer is going to be restricted to the layer below, and I'm just going to fill in the areas facing the bottom, which would have the darkest tone. I'm being very quick here, so sorry if it's a bit rushed.
All good. And just to clarify, the brush you're using?
The brush I'm using at the moment is one called Broken Arrow. And so I've done that. And actually, I'm just going to add a shadow as well, so it looks like it's lifting off the page. So what I'm going to do is duplicate that top layer. I'm going to bring it to the bottom of the stack and color it black, clicking black on the color. Click on the layer again because it's alpha lock still on. I can click on it and fill layer, and I just want to reduce the opacity down to where it says about the end of opacity actually, and then click on the transform tool, and we're just going to move that down there. It just gives us looks like those words are just jumping off the page. So that's an external thing you can do to it. Add some 3D and a bit of shading to the 3D element to give it a bit of dimension. And so the next thing we are going to do is we are going to do some internal effects to this. So I'm going to click on a new layer. I'm going to select white as my color. And then down the brushes, I'm going to select the one called breadcrumbs, which is just a series of sort of circles that are all different. When you draw it, they're slightly different in terms of the shape and then in the size, which matches a sort of slightly textured version, slightly unevenness of sort of Freestyler Brushes. And what I'm going to do is another thing. You think of fun, you might think of it like a circus, and the lighting they have on the lettering and stuff like that. So this sort of inline lettering on here is a bit like what you get maybe at a circus, and we can do something different on every letter because fun is not the same for everyone. So it might be for the one in one I do the N, I use the line one, so that's a line instead of a I'll draw it straight like that. And then we can do the pinboard one, which is like a half tone pattern, and we can just do that around the center one. So that's the internal influences. So it's just breaking it down, because sometimes you can look at lettering and get quite overwhelmed by what's going on there and think, I can't make that. But as I've just shown, you're sort of breaking it down into, okay, number one, we can just change the alignment. Number two, is there anything we do with external influences? Make it 3D, give it a shadow to lift it off the thing. And then we've got the internal,
the baseline as well, of course.
The baseline. And then we've got the internal effects by giving each of the letters maybe an inline, maybe like, with the dotted lines inside it. You might give it some shading inside it, a gradient inside it. And then the last thing, which is not actually involved in the letters, but it's what goes around letters. So what we could do, I'm just going to create a new layer, and then we can select this start one, and what we can do is just round the outside, place some of those. Then we're going to grab the breadcrumb one again.
Oh, that's cool. Esgy says she's following along right now. And
I know I'm going quite quickly, so it's great that we have a replay, so you can go at your own speed. But so let me show you. I would show you what we had before, but I've drawn over it. But I can show you sort of like we had the white one, and it was all quite basic, and then we're left with that, and it gives it that impression of more fun than the first one. So as we're looking at,
that looks awesome, mate. Let us know, is everyone following along okay? I love this comment from Lindsay. She said, I just popped out to grab my cuppa. I've come back and magic has happened on the screen. That is the pace of the Barnard. You can't blink without missing some skills happening on the screen.
So what I suggest people do is have a think about, okay, give yourself a process. So here I've got this maybe 4-step process of altering the baseline or altering the angle of the letters is the first one, and then the external influences, color, maybe give it a shadow, maybe give it an outline around the outside of the letters, maybe the letters have sort of like some cracks in it or something like that. And then we're looking at the internal effects, so giving it an inline, giving it some dots, whatever that may be, a gradient. So you give yourself, under each of these headings, maybe make a list like you do in a journal of things you can add to it. So that when you go through and you're stuck with a word, you can go through and think about what would make that word look more interesting, and giving yourself like a library of tools to utilize. And we know on the Honest Designer podcast, we always like systems and making things easier for ourselves. You don't want to spend too much time in your head, because otherwise you're just start thinking, oh, this is going to be rubbish, it's not going to be very good. So actually someone already in the comments says loves the lettering list. A lettering list is a great name for this, giving yourself a list of stuff that you can use in your lettering for each stage of it, and sometimes you won't need to do every stage. It's just giving you some tools to help you when you're feeling stuck. So now I thought I'd go through some more examples of doing this. Again, maybe not missing one of these stages because it doesn't need it. So let me just get rid of those ones. And then bring up letter builder here. Okay, I'm going to start off with the rock and roller one, which is probably my favorite brush from the pack because it makes it so easy to draw the letters on it. So what I'm going to do is, so the word we're going to look at is artist. I know artist is 6 words and there's 7 grids on here. I did forget how many letters were in the word artist, but the word after we do this one will have 7 letters, so it makes sense. So what we're going to do is roughly, this is not going to be the final letters, so we're just going to roughly write out the word artist. I'll show you why in a minute. So we're just using the grids just to get our letters down really quickly. There we go.
God, so efficient.
It is so efficient. You don't have to like draw an outline, fill it, and make sure it's all right. So most of the time, I'd do that, and then I'd start erasing the parts because it sometimes, because it follows your direction of your pencil, it sometimes gives you a weird element at the end. But I'd go through and just do that, but not for this one, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to reduce the opacity of the one I've just made, and I'm going to turn off letter builder. Because what we're going to do now is we're just going to come up with a list of what we think about artists. So if you heard the word artist, Tom, what would you think about? What words come to mind? Apart from me.
So what supportive words that kind of hang off of that?
Well, no, yeah, just what if you say
what concepts, I guess.
Oh yeah, when you think of an artist, what do you think of them? What do you think of, like the tools they use or the person they are?
I think like expressive, imaginative, emotive in some ways, quite free.
Yeah, what tools do they
free
use?
flow, paint brushes, pastels. Really, every tool under the sun. But I guess traditional artists, the first thing that springs to mind is like a paintbrush.
Yeah, and what about like an artist studio? Is that nice and clean and tidy, or is it really messy?
Super messy, but in a creative way, of course.
Yeah. So okay, so we'll take some of those concepts. I'm going to grab. I am going to grab Sloppy Joe Mono. So we're going to take those concepts of like messy, like paints and brushes, the tools they use, and I suppose sometimes it can be, spontaneous and emotive and stuff like that. Bring out presence. So you say, okay, we're going to come up with a quick way of making like a paintbrushing effect. So one way to do that, and it's quite a simple thing, is I've got a monoline brush, quite thin, so much thinner than the letters are there, and we're just going to draw like maybe 3 to 5 lines for each of the stems of the letter, and they don't have to be even. Or it's actually better if they're not even. Because straight away we've got this sort of like brush looking letter that is not perfect. And we've got because we quickly made the letters using that brush, is that we can use that as like our guide. So we can sort of be perfect and imperfect at the same time. And then, going from what we've just had already, it's already looking more artistry than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. nearly done. So that's like stage 1 done. You know, you don't have to do those stages, I said, in the right order. So we've looked at the sort of external first, looking at sort of like making it a little more paintbrushy. And actually, you know, if we had more time, we could go in and actually, using like the broken arrow one, which is more for detail, we can make this look more like it's dripping. Sort of make it a bit more refined, sort of smooth off those curves, and maybe make the joins, you know, because they wouldn't be perfect. You're using paintbrush to do this, they're not going to be particularly refined edges. And actually, you might want to, using the sort of broken arrow tool, just a bit thick, but put some brush strokes in there where, you know, the paint doesn't always go perfectly.
It's amazing how quite small touches make the world of difference to the overall feel. Yeah.
And so, you know, looking at the baseline one now, because we've done that, because actually that worked better starting off with the sort of external look of the letters, which is partly internal as well. Selecting one of the letters, and then we're going to just sort of, you know, rotate it a bit. So maybe only, rather than think, oh, I need to rotate every letter, I'm just going to rotate every other letter or move every other letter off the baseline. So like say the R is on the baseline, and I'm going to adjust every other letter. So the A, the T, and the S.
This literally feels like a really cool artistic logo already.
Yeah. So if that was the thing that you sort of were focusing on, and so, you know, you've got that already, and you can keep going if you wanted to. And, you know, actually the letters that we haven't touched, I might just want to tweak and make a bit, adjust a bit, or bring them together a bit. You might want to, you know, even make it so the letters are.
Oh, that's cool. It's like it's a paint
like,
bleed or something.
Yeah, and it's sort of dripping onto each letter. And then I was just thinking, you know, for the sort of like, I need a word for the fourth stage, which is where, when you're doing like the embellishments, I suppose, around the outside illustration. You know, you could. I'm just thinking about the artist's palette, so we can just put maybe grab a. I need a color, but I don't know which one to use. Just a light color.
We've got a lot of Ian fans in the DC community, by the way. A lot of people saying how much they love your work, Ian.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
I feel like Ian is the Dave Grohl of the digital art world. Just the most humble, nicest person.
It's really nice of you, Tom.
Sorry, I'm going to embarrass you now.
And then again, we can use some of these brushes that help to sort of add elements in it, where you can just sort of put a few of the dots of like paint that's dotted everywhere. Actually, if we grab this breadcrumbs and make those really big, we can sort of maybe add some, like, what it looks like splats of paint. So, so that was like, I know I can do it quicker because I've had a little bit more practice, but we've only been going for like nearly 30 minutes, and we've done two words and given them, loads. So it's not like, because this seems like, oh, it's going to take me forever, but actually thinking about what small tweaks you can do rather than massive tweaks. And it's actually just layering it up. It's not like it's like making a big cake. You just got layers of different elements that you put together, then it looks, can look good. So looking at what it is now. So, we started off with this, the word artist, wasn't really spaced right. It's just quite bland, and, we quickly turned it into, turn off the background. We turned it into what looks more like the word artist, and and people will see that from the sort of effects you've applied to it, rather than just reading the word as well. So so that's that one. I was wondering, experimenting and trying to freestyle, as it's freestyler pack, getting a word from the community and just trying it out. If we wanted to do that.
Yeah, totally down for that. Should we ask for some suggestions, Ian?
Yeah.
Have you got do you want a long word or a short word, or around a certain theme?
Because I got let's go for a word that's maybe 4 or 5 letters long. Keep it clean,
okay,
please.
Yeah, some 4-letter words. Okay, we got music, grace, magic. These are some good words, guys. Armadillo Cat says. Inspire, funny.
Okay.
Any of these standing out to you, Ian?
Yeah.
Quite like magic.
Yeah.
Personally, what do you think?
Yeah, that's good. Let's try that, shall we? You're in this, experimental stage. You're helping me, by the way, Tom, with coming up with some good words to around the.
I'm the ideas man. That's fine.
Okay.
You're the talent.
Okay. Actually, let's.
Oh, I've got a good one here from Art B, who said burst. That could be really expressive too.
That could be.
What do we think? And people keep saying bonkers as well, which I cannot read without playing Dizzy Rascal in my head, which probably won't make sense for anyone outside the UK.
Yep. Okay, where am I? That one thing. Okay, let me just draw some.
The Jive Aces says, wait, this is live? Yeah, it is, the Jive Aces. We are here to help you guys.
Okay, I've got 5. It needs to be a 5-letter word. So we're going to go for magic, or we're going to go for.
In fact,
there's not. Cats one a dizzy. That's quite cool.
Are you thinking Dizzy Rascal now? Which word? I'm going to do a little poll. So we've got magic and burst, or dizzy. Yeah, I think it's magic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's close.
Oh no, I think magic is held the top. Okay, yeah. Let's go for magic.
All right, there we go. I'm not even going to mention dizzy. A dismal failure in the poll.
Okay.
Magic. Here we go.
While I'm writing our letters, you have a think, Tom, about the words associated with magic.
Okay, I got it. This is like Ian and I starting an ad agency or something.
Yeah. Okay. So what sort of words are we thinking when we come?
Well, can I give you emotive words and objects and just kind of anything associated?
Yeah, and then I will sort of like try and think what can be done into.
Get involved as well, community. What do you associate with magic? I kind of think like a sparkle's the wrong word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of aura, visual aura around it. I can see wand, Grant said, that could be interesting for the eye.
That
potentially.
Could be,
I don't know if that would work. Yeah, like stars, Mandy says. Maybe a top hat,
Yeah.
something coming out of a hat. We have cards. That's a good one. Cards is a really good one.
Yeah.
Donna says, dude chopping people in half. It's a little aggressive, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm going to do, let me duplicate that a minute. And we've drawn letters, so we can turn off letter builder. So actually, what I'm thinking is that a bit like actually the past two ones, having letters. What I'm going to do is going to take the letters and I'm going to 3-finger swipe down, cut and paste, so it takes it off that layer onto its own layer. What I'm going to do is because I want to try an idea with
I love that we're doing this live. It could go so right or so wrong.
I know.
It's all about experimenting.
Okay. I like the card idea. So what I'm thinking is, see, this is pushing I think more my illustration skills, which are not the greatest when it gets out of just stars and dots.
So I'll phone Lisa. I can see if she can jump in with us.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that was a pretty good card on the fly, mate. I'm impressed.
And let's maybe color this. I'm trying to think what.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Damn it, mate! You're so creative.
And actually, I'm thinking that I can't.
Yeah, I'm
trying to think what style it would be more serif-y, but because
it would be nice to distinguish it, wouldn't it?
Because you think of what they wear. Magicians normally wear something quite dressed up, and so thinking about this formal thing and about serifs, that could be the case. But also, it's quite.
Can I give an idea which might be really dumb?
No. Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, go ahead.
Could we do it where we duplicate the card and have it fan out like twice, but then you'd need a gap of the blue background? Otherwise, it would just be a blob, just to kind of show like a deck of cards fanning out.
Oh, yes.
So but you'd need like a blue stroke around each card to show that it's a deck.
Yes. I'm thinking, let's have a go. Let's have a go at that. Whoops.
This is like the most interactive session. I love it.
Okay, let me turn off that a minute. Okay, so we've got these two. Let me just group that. I'll run out of layers in a minute. So I'm thinking, actually, let me turn off this. I've got is that it actually goes like this. That's my card run. So it starts there.
Oh, are you going to do a series of cards?
Yeah, I was going to do like.
That's quite possibly a much better idea.
And then if I duplicate that, hold my finger on there to select the background color, click on it and select fill layer. And then we can make it look like it's distinguished from there, or we can just lower that. Actually, that looks nicer. Having a bit of a shadow like that. So what I'm going to do is keep duplicating this, and then I can redo the letters on
the. Kat says, I love that Ian's just going with it without prep. A true pro. Yeah,
I was
this is
thinking about
where
how like
the
this could be
amateurs would
like you
panic.
say, it could be like some of those shows where they do it and it all goes like a nightmare.
Is it is it my eye, or is there like a subtle emboss on the letter?
I think it's your
It,
eye. I think it's just how
it,
it
it
comes
might be the
across
screen
on
share.
the live stream. Because
It
on
could
my
look kind of cool though. I'm just saying it looks like
I
on
know
the right
maybe I
side of
just
the
leave it like
letter.
it is. I'll try and emboss
Yeah.
it. It won't look as good what it is. So what we can do now is I can just because I can have different cards, but that's the idea I'm going
Mhm.
for. And so what I can do now is actually
Ian, I know you want to have fun, but
I think Procreate have got to do an update soon because
it's updated.
I'm
Apparently.
using the new iPad, so it's a little bit funky in some areas until it gets an update. Okay, so let me try that again. Let's delete that. Okay.
The fun never stops.
It doesn't, does it? There we go.
You just had a
Turn all
dripping
those.
card there.
Oh, I've got more. I've got the magic. There we go. Okay. I might just. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to freestyle it.
Seems appropriate given the pack you're using.
Yeah.
For
Okay,
anyone,
so,
what a great segue there into mentioning the particular assets here. The Freestyler Brushes, which are Ian's own pack. Incredible fun. Loads of different shapes and textures, patterns that you can apply to your lettering. Available now. Check it out via the green button below us.
so sometimes what I do with is I draw sans serif letters and then turn them into serif letters by just sort of adding the terminals, the serif parts of it, or just cutting away at it if I want to make it a bit thinner in places. Quite like that. Actually, let's if we go going red, black, red, black, red. So this will be. So
that's good.
This can be a diamond. I had a momentary lap of concentration there and couldn't remember what the suits were in. And
and Ian, I just want to say you're, remarkably humble still following your YouTube thing that arrived. Ian recently had 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. He got one of their like silver plaques that they send out. I like that you've remained grounded. You still entertain us little folk.
Yeah. So I still haven't got a Lamborghini.
It is amazing though. Well done, and like proof of your consistency. I remember when you started the channel and you've just been showing up and showing up.
I have been on there for about 10 years, so definitely not an overnight thing. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go alternate colors here. I'm going to go. Let's make this one a club.
Probably the hardest one to draw.
Yeah. Because mine just looks like a bunch of grapes. Really bad bunch of grapes.
Often confused with a broccoli.
Yes. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's quite ambitious, is this one. Let's cut that. And then we've got, what's the next letter? G. That's the one.
G. You're not using the letter builder here, are you? You're just freestyling the letters.
I am freestyling. Just because
impressive.
we're short on time. They would be more refined if I was using letter builder. But,
Look amazing, to be honest.
Okay, cut this. Grab that one and okay, and what haven't I done? Spade, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it in red because I'm going to change the color in a minute.
I was going to say, that's a hard.
That's it, alpha lock it.
God, you've got a better visual memory than I do. On the spot, I was like, what does that look like again?
Okay, let's have a look and see if these are working.
Look at this. So cool.
So there we go. Obviously, the layout is not the greatest because it just looks.
Have we got room to space them?
Maybe just move this. They're going to the G a bit, but then what I can think about is actually I want to add some. Let me get some white.
Are we able to shrink them down and space them further apart, Ian? Have we got time for that?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm swiping right to select the group, and then I can get the transform tool, move them down a bit. Let's move this, get rid of that red line.
I think this is Instagram worthy. I know you've just whipped this together, but it looks really cool.
I feel it needs some like trying to had that.
Yeah, the sparkles.
Like it goes and sort of trailing, like the old magic shows where they'd have like a bring, like a shooting star sort of effect going over it.
Yeah. This is just waiting to be animated.
Yeah.
How good is that? I'm actually so impressed that you've just done that on the fly.
So yes, that's obviously I would spend a lot more time on it than 15 minutes, but that's just looking. So that going back through that process, what do we do? First of all, we wrote out the letters. We wrote, that was what we started with, and it goes to show you can start with anything and make it, you can make it look good. So, we started off with that, and then, it's drawing out, they're making a list. We made a list and we thought about, about some ideas, but the thing that, and it's not always the thing that you need to do. It's the thing that sort of sparks off in your head an idea. So Tom said playing cards. And I thought immediately
that was what I forget who said that. That was a design cutter suggestion. So
well done.
Do let us know if that was your idea.
And so just, okay, trying that out on one letter, duplicating that letter, then adding the letters in it, meant that we could then, come up with that and just sort of think, actually, how much more does, don't you have to, if it were different letters on that or it's just numbers, you still think of it being, magic. So it's just that, and even the even the illustrations of the diamonds and the suits of the club aren't that great, but you get people understand what it's about, so it's so that's one way of doing it. So I was just thinking of other things that are really simple. Let me see if I can do another layer without it switching out. So I'm just thinking about another way of. So I'm going to do the word giant. And
Are we squeezing a fourth in here?
yes, we're trying to.
Nice. Do you mind if I fire a couple of questions at you while we do this one? Marie says, Ian, you showcase so many different lettering styles in your work. Where do you look for inspiration?
I always look in the wrong place and get frustrated. So I look a lot on Pinterest, but that always makes me feel like I see something and I think, like, oh, I can't do that. Actually, I can't do that. Sometimes it does spark off days. Walking around like the supermarket, grocery store, and actually I see an idea on some packaging a lot of the time. I think, oh, that would look quite cool. Or like, for instance, there was like, if we look at the magic example, none of that was from like me looking on the internet or anything. That was just bouncing ideas, having someone to bounce ideas off of. So, with you, Tom, you came up with the cards, and then I thought about stuff, and then you said about fanning it out, and that produced that like lovely sort of, winding pack of cards coming out. And then,
I like to think I'm 90% responsible for that piece.
It's just, you're just delegating the work to me. So we've got the word giant. So this is just a really simple one. So let me just space it a bit better. Okay, so we've written out the letters. Turn off letter builder. Okay, so a simple one just to make this look more like giant. Because you thought, wow, how do I make it sound like a giant without making it, So a quick way for this is just by grabbing the selection tool, and what we're going to do is just select half of the letter, and then we're just going to go whoop out like that.
Ooh.
And then using the same brush we just used, it's just literally joining up.
How's that for an X height?
Yeah, I know. And then we just get rid of some of the bits where we transfer over, so we just erase that and re-put them in. And that could have been like the word tool or something. And instantly, just doing one transformation, you already understand the sort of word.
Ian, I have a question / proposal for you.
Yes.
I don't know how this would work, and hopefully if you're down for it, the team can help figure this out. I would love to do something like this again, but where it's more of an interactive workshop. So maybe we can like invite people up and they can show what they're working on and they can follow along, but we can all kind of see what each other are doing. What do you think? If we could make that happen, would you be down for that? Because this has been one of the most fun interactive sessions.
Yeah, sure. Happy with that. Let me do, because we've got like 8 minutes left. So let me do something I had done before, so this is not on the fly. Is that doing that same sort of concept is grabbing the word electric. I would do electricity, but it's too long for now.
Fun fact, Ian is a trained electrician.
Yeah.
Another fun fact, I am not. I electrocuted myself trying to change a light bulb because that's how inept I am.
It's because my grandpa was one. I was like, oh, that'd be cool to do. Went to night school. So if lettering ever dries up, I've got a job as an electrician. Okay, so for this one, let's turn that off. Same sort of thing. Grabbing the selection tool, grabbing just under half, and then what we're going to do is move it either to the right or to the left. Let's go left. And then what we do with grabbing the broken arrow one is that we just go down and up. We're going to make it look like a sort of electrical lightning current thingy on letters. So you're just going to go through that, and you got that. This is very rough, but you're just trying to encompass. You've just done a quick, alteration to the lettering by just cutting it in half, and then you're putting like lightning strikes inside the letter, and then make it look like it's electric. And then on top of that, let's make that sort of pink, and then new layer, and then we go white, get like a monoline brush, and then we can just sort of give it like a neon look to it. We can add some effects. We haven't got time at the moment, but you're just sort of thinking, what do I think? I think of lights. I think of things that are powered, and so there's just a couple of things I've just added to that, just to make it electric. There's other things you can add some light bulbs inside it and stuff like that. So yeah, there you go. I thought we could do like any questions people might have at the end.
We do have some questions. That looks amazing as well, by the way. Love the color palette. Let me bring up the questions. So all right, top question is from Sam, not actually about lettering, but said, how did we meet and start working together? I think it was like early days, like one of our first bundles, right? Where I reached out to you.
I think, because that was when I was sort of like doing logo templates. I think I was doing vintage logo templates.
Vintage Design Co.
Yeah, and you say, "Oh, how about this?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, right. You're right, Tom."
And then we did that for a while. Ian was one of the first, like when we opened our marketplace, I think literally there was like 7 designers. It was a real basic concept, just testing the waters. And it was like you and Dustin and Lisa Glanz and a couple of others. So that was like way back when. And then we started doing the podcast, and 4 years on, we're still talking to each other most weeks, and got to meet Ian's lovely family, and been to a couple of conferences, did a speaking gig together. We've done quite a lot, actually. I see you more than some of my mates.
Especially over coronavirus.
Like my in real life, well, you are a mate, but you know what I mean, like some of my oldest mates I don't see as often, but it's quite cool. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful, Sam. And Cheryl has the next question. How did you rotate your art without it being pixelated?
So when you click on the transform tool, there is a button that says hang on, I can't see what I'm doing.
Sorry, super quick. That's so cool. Mandy says she saw us at Birmingham Design Festival. That's where we spoke together. Hey, Mandy.
That was good. That was a great time. That was.
Yeah, that was fun. With the funniest hotel room in the world.
Oh,
where
yeah.
Ian and I,
like a prison.
There were the hotel the conference put us up in. We were very grateful for the accommodation, but there was a blind in the room where the window was, and you could see like natural light coming behind it. And we were like, oh, let's just open the window. So we pulled up the blind, and it was just a concrete wall where they had like a fake light to simulate outdoor light, but you were just barricaded into a concrete block.
Yeah,
and we got the giggles a bit.
I've never wanted natural light or fresh air that I did for that.
It was a hell of a view.
Yeah, I still don't understand the ins and outs of this, but under when you're in the transform tool and you've got like bilinear, bicubic, and nearest neighbor, they will do different things when you're adjusting your artwork. So maybe what you want to do is draw some letters and experiment with each of those and see which gives you the better result. It's with transformation and how it works out, how it should sort out transformations within Procreate. So have a play with that with some artwork you don't mind wrecking, just to see what works best in terms for you, because there is one that will work in better circumstances than others. So that button there, bilinear, or it will say bilinear, or it will say nearest neighbor or bicubic, but that button there, hope that helps.
Amazing. Johannes asks, hi Ian, master of every Procreate secret. Is there a way to scale up and down something in Procreate centric? So not to center it in the middle of the canvas, but where it's currently placed. It's a good question.
So
if you don't know, Bill left a wonderful link to a resource.
I don't know, actually.
Okay, there we go. Check out Bill's resource.
I can't remember. You can click on it. You can do that. I wonder if that works. So if I put 3,000, I don't know, actually. That's something I have to work out. See, I don't know everything in Procreate. So sorry.
Kiki asks, are you a naturally good drawer or did you have to learn?
I had to learn. I'm not a naturally good drawer.
Cool.
A lot of people like going to the further reaches of my Instagram feed and seeing what my lettering used to be like. The thing is, I did do graphic design and illustration at university, but wasn't the greatest drawer. I like drawing, wasn't the greatest drawer. I had to, and like some of the stuff I do when I'm first doing stuff, like this electric thing, I can see loads of errors with it, and like it's just very sloppy. A lot of my work looks like that until I've refined it a little bit more, and it's just in that refinement process where it looks better. So if you haven't got good drawing skills, just look more at refining it and just checking on your like weight. It's all consistent and your lines are nice and sharp if that's what you want it. So
very cool. Also shout out to Javiera and India, who said it's their first DC live session. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Roberta asks, Ian, do you always use a dark background when creating?
No. If we go back here, you see I use a lot of grey. It's like a lot of grey and a lot of yellow. So I think I either use a grey and light background, or I use like a dark blue. That seems to be two of my options. So
is there something about those that helps kind of balance it, or
maybe just personal preference? Maybe if I find some colours that work well for me, I use them repeatedly until I'm sick of them. So sometimes I just because I think that sort of like it's a bit like the clothes I wear are either grey, black, white, or navy blue, because they're all quite easy to add stuff with. So you can.
I think you're describing my wardrobe, Ian.
Yeah, that's my wardrobe. It's a bit like this scene from Wayne's World where he opens his wardrobe and all he's got is blue jeans and black t-shirts. And millions of them.
Exactly. I think that is all we have time for. But Ian, I want to say a tremendous thank you for one of your best ever sessions. I would say it was so much fun, and as always, I'm in awe of quite how much you packed in. You're a lettering machine, and thank you for entertaining our quirky ideas along the way. But it was really fun.
You're welcome, and I'm glad the magic went well.
Yeah, you worked your magic for sure. Let's give it up for Ian in the chat. Thank you. We can't wait to welcome you back in the future. I'm going to stay on just for a couple of minutes and talk about the wider event, but I will catch you next week for the podcast as always. And thanks again, mate. That was great.
You're welcome, Tom. Always a pleasure.
All right. Take
See
care.
you, everyone.
Bye.